On today's episode of The Spin Out, we're welcoming Owen Parry, who is the founder of Hello Tailr, a fashion tech startup based in Melbourne, Australia. Hello Tailr launched in September 2023 and is a platform that is revolutionising clothing repairs and alterations by integrating technology with sustainability, focusing on circularity. His mission sees his work enable brands and retailers to offer seamless repair services, extending the life of garments and reducing waste. He approaches automation, logistics, and notably social enterprise partnerships, with over 72% of the brand services being completed by these partners to support communities, provide job opportunities, and offer skills training. The idea for Hello Tailr came from his own frustrating experience of needing to get clothes tailored, specifically pants shortening, after purchasing them online and realising that technology could bridge the gap between skilled makers and people looking for a hassle-free experience. He previously founded and served as CEO of a different company called Obi, which was an online reservation platform for restaurants, also started from a personal frustration. Welcome, Owen, to the podcast. Hi, Owen. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me on.
So tell us about Hello Tailr. What is it all about?
So Hello Tailr is an online alterations and clothing repair service available Australia-wide, and we use social enterprises to complete our orders. So they're the ones that are actually handling the alterations and repairs. So Second Stitch in Coburg, the Social Studio in Collingwood, both in Victoria, the Social Outfit, and we're also onboarding some others around Australia so that when you order, say from WA, we're fulfilling close to you as well. So
And so how does it work? You go online and say, I need to get my pants tailored, taken up because I'm short. What do I do?
Yeah, so we've got our website, so hellotailr.com without the O, so TAILR.com, and you can just jump on there, exactly, select pair of pants, pair of jeans, I need them shortened by 6 centimetres, whatever it is, type in your measurement, and we send you a shipping label. Once you've completed your order, that basically gets sent to one of our partners. It'll match based on who can do what work, so some people will alter dresses and some people won't, for example. And yeah, you just basically pop the label on and take it to the post office or put it in a Red Street mailing box. We take care of the rest, and you get email updates throughout the process, photos of your order as it progresses. If there's anything we need to check, some people like pin their pants, that kind of thing. We'll send the measurements and confirm everything before we start.
And so we can get to your website through the Laundry Lady website as well, and tick on and click on you need services, mending, that kind of thing.
That's right. So yeah, we've got brand partners now as well, like the Laundry Lady. So you can basically jump on there and use it directly through your website as well. So great if you want a pair of pants shortened, but also to get clothes repaired. So if you get a small rip or a button that needs reattaching and you either don't have the time or skills to do it yourself.
Oh my gosh, I have 2 boys, so their clothes are just constantly needing mending, their rips, and you get to a point where you don't bother mending theirs, but still there is some things that do need it.
Well, we've been doing a lot of school pants lately, which is really cool. So it's building out some content. I think for like a back to school campaign, maybe in January next year. That I think. Knee patches for kids is obviously one that we just get all the time, and some are subtle and some we're doing creative, like love heart patches and stuff like that. So that's really fun to see.
So talk me through the social enterprise part of it. Like, what does that mean? What does that social enterprise look like? Who's doing the work? How are they doing that? What does that all mean?
Yeah, so these social enterprises are really well established. Like Second Stitch has been around since at least 2016, I think, maybe even longer. And they have 3 components to their business, broadly speaking. They're all a little bit different. They all have their own specialties, but they do local manufacturing. So like a lot of slow fashion brands that you might like that do small production runs and actually make their garments in Australia, they'll handle those sort of requests for those brands. They also have a big education component. So people who are facing barriers to work or, new migrants, that kind of thing, they'll basically take them in and do certifications and training, sort of like a university diploma type equivalent degree, in fashion and related training courses like that. And then they've got the other third of the business, which is the part that we're tapping into, the alterations and mending component. And before Hello Tailr existed, they were basically a suburban alterations service. It was, you had to live in the nearby suburb, you had to drop in. They've got limited hours because, they're doing a lot of things. So you have to go sort of like Wednesday to Saturday only, that kind of thing. So when I met with Second Stitch initially, going on a year and a half ago now, they'd just been featured in ABC's War and Waste. And then they were getting a lot of interest from all over Australia. So they're getting people emailing in going, we love what you're doing, but we want it, you're too far away. And they actually completed their orders. So they did some orders from Queensland and Brisbane and that kind of thing. But it just didn't make sense for them because the time they spent emailing back and forwards, they would have lost money on, a $30-40 alteration. It just doesn't make sense. But because I sort of came in and said, like, I'm doing all the tech to wrap around that, we can facilitate that. We'll capture the measurements, we'll liaise with the customers, and a package will arrive. You take a photo, fill in a form, do the work. It cuts out a big amount of customer service. Obviously customers can spend half an hour in the shop talking to them, that kind of thing. So, it's been a natural fit. And, so we've sort of like added to that network with now the Social Studio and the Social Outfit in New South Wales, both being, part of our network of tailors. And they've all got slightly different specialties. Some do knitwear and darning and it's really good. Like sometimes the main staff can be away and we can distribute orders based on the demand. So, if someone's shut seasonally or they've got a big collection going live, we can sort of route the orders to whoever's most suitable at the time. So it wasn't having the social enterprises, I didn't set out to, with that in mind, but that's sort of been the natural evolution and it's a really logical fit now that it's there.
I love it. So you're innovating, something that we all need at some point. Well, I sure do, being a short person. But also, supporting these social enterprises and helping them because they wouldn't have had the tech and know how to, be able to expand their services nationally as well. So it's just like a win-win all over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we can build up enough demand to give them consistent employment, the pathways from their education courses to like a stable flow of pants getting shortened, consistent sort of basic alterations, it's a really good stepping stone out of that course into the workforce with a stream of not like, it's not high-end menswear, it's not bridal, it's not like, but it's a really good stepping stone, sort of like everyday alterations, if you like, on the way out to the workforce. So
and
that's
obviously we wash clothing, so we get requested about this type of thing all of the time. And our contractors, some of them, might have that ability, but most don't because they're too busy washing and ironing the clothes. So, it's a really great fit for us as well because, the more we can reuse and recycle our clothing and not have to replace it all of the time, I think, is a great thing from a mending perspective, but also for vertically challenged people, it's also a really great thing. And that's how you got the idea, right? Talk us about that.
100%. Yeah, I'm short as well, so I don't think I've
vertically challenged. Let's say that.
But I haven't bought a pair of pants that haven't needed to be shortened, I don't think. So that's where the idea came about. I bought a pair of pants online. I'd moved suburbs. I didn't know who the local tailor was in the new suburb that we've moved to. I'm searching, online, tailor near me, alterations near me, and essentially nothing came up. Everything was, I'm only 30, 40 minutes out of the city, so I'm not regional or remote by any stretch, but everything was a 10 or 15 minute drive. It was basically go to a big shopping centre 10 or 15 minutes away. That was the main option. So I was just surprised. My last business was in IT, and I was just surprised that the alterations industry wasn't online at all. So it wasn't
I
it
felt
wasn't
the
an
same way
idea.
about laundry when I started, that it wasn't, how could this not
100%.
be online? Like, this is such a need that we need to solve. And yeah, I know, like with our local tailors, when I've tried to get something simple like pants taken up, it's like, oh yeah, sure, we've got a 3 week wait time. I'm like, no, I just bought this. I want to wear it.
Yeah, that's the challenge. And I think sometimes they don't like having a pair of pants is not the type of job that they want to do, because that's
Yeah.
sort of not the most interesting job after you've done a lot of them. So then you're like, oh no, actually, I've got like, I don't know, remaking a leather jacket or something else is more interesting. So I sort of want to do that one. And it's tricky as well because they've got such fluctuance in the orders that they get. So um, yeah, it's a challenging industry, which I can appreciate as well. So yeah.
So, like me, who was not an expert in laundry in the beginning, you're not a sewing expert that you grew up sewing and doing all those things. This just came from your own need to get pants taken up, couldn't find a solution. And so you did what you knew, which was tech, and applied that and innovated what you could with that. So, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think they're the best businesses when you're solving a problem that you understand. And look, we were runners up in eBay's Circular Fashion Fund this year, and I remember that being one of the questions that I got quizzed on at the end. Basically, like, you don't come from fashion, like you don't come from alterations, like why should you be doing this business? And my response was basically like, I think that gives me an advantage because I can empathize with the customer. I understand the pain point, and I keep coming back to that. So I'm in the workrooms with our social enterprise partners, and we're talking about the alterations, and I'm like, but a customer doesn't know what a blind hem is. A customer doesn't know what a cover stitch machine is. We can't talk about that. We've got to make it like really, really, really simple. So I keep coming back to that, like, customer that doesn't know anything about sewing. How can we describe it in a way that just makes sense? Yeah. So even like on the bottom of the pants, like, is there one line of stitches or two? Like, don't tell me what type of stitch that is. I mean, I obviously know that now, and I'm learning all of that as I go. But the customer doesn't want to know. We've got to tell that story with an image or words that describe it. So that's what we're trying
Yeah.
to focus on.
Yeah, I can barely even sew a button on, to be fair. It's a challenge, and it's something that clothes are never meant to fit every single person. So we're always going to need mending and repairing and all of those things. So yeah, I think it's super cool. And so this isn't your first business though, right? Or your only business. You've got a lot of things that you do or that you've done before. So tell us about that.
This is my full-time focus now. So yeah, definitely 100% focused on this now and working on this. But yeah, my background before this was a hospitality tech company, but it was an online booking system for restaurants. And I started that in 2010 when it didn't exist as well in the market. It was basically, at the time, everyone rang restaurants, and that was the only way you booked. And when I tackled that business, I just saw it as a simple problem with, I thought, an easy solution, where it was basically like, a restaurant has 60 seats. If you can just book up to 60 people, then it's full. That's it. Like, running that business, I obviously learned that there's a lot more to it. There's sittings and there's all this stuff that comes. And look, we were adding SMS reminders before that was the industry norm. So there was lots of innovation in that business. But what was really cool after sort of 10 to 12 years of running that business is that over like 80 or 90% of our bookings were made online. And at the start, it was less than 1%. So really within a decade, like, that landscape of booking a restaurant, like, it's actually really rare now to phone a restaurant.
You can't
You
find a
just
phone
like
number.
can't a lot.
Yes,
Like, yeah.
yeah.
And we had restaurants like maybe around 2018 that were like 100% online only. Like they just didn't even answer the phone because they just ended up setting up the system and optimizing it. So that was sort of validation that it worked. But I think what I have to remember now running this business is it probably took 4 or 5 years before that momentum and the industry came along.
Like came along with the journey.
Yeah. So, and like same for this, like people aren't searching for online alterations at the moment because they don't know it exists. So you have to sort of educate and offer the solution as well. So, yeah, it's just about that, like remembering to have a bit of patience in the early stages of business. And I saw a post, I think on your LinkedIn, that was like your story started in 2012 or 2011.
Long time ago.
Yeah. So I love that. It's like that classic, like, it's an overnight success in a decade,
Yeah.
or whatever that saying is. That sort of really resonates for me right now. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You don't just get an idea and then create it and you've got a business that's kicking goals. Suddenly it takes a really long time and a long, part of the journey to be able to get to that. And obviously, you must have had some passion that is driving you around this business that's more than just having your pants taken up. So what is that about? Is it coming from the social enterprises, or what is that about for you?
It is solving the original pain point. And for me, the solution is about bringing convenience to repairs and alterations. So it does start with that. But now that we've got these social enterprise partners,
Yeah.
that's making me double down on wanting it to succeed. If I actually hadn't have maybe fallen into that solution along the way, it's potentially something I could have walked away by now.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, like I've been a guest speaker at Melbourne Fashion Week, and I was at a sustainability festival on the weekend as a guest speaker. And now I'm
very
presenting
different events, yeah.
very different events, trying to mingle with both audiences, but I'm now presenting the facts and figures about like fashion is like the second biggest polluting industry after oil and gas. Like there's just so many crazy
From
facts.
the creation of fashion.
Yeah, from the creation of fashion, from like growing, from the dyes that's
Yeah.
going into like the logistics of shipping it all over the world. I mean, ultra fast fashion and fast fashion is the real culprit. But it also goes to the consumer because we're simply buying new instead of repairing.
And it's so easy to do that when you have, we've just come off Black Friday and the sales are just incredibly low prices, and that's what drives people to do that. But I know I have a very full wardrobe that I need to like really think through of why I add so much to that and to stop doing that so much. But it's, we're set up like for that as a society to really encourage us to here's another sale, and it feels like we'll be on sale now until Boxing Day, and and that really drives people to do that kind of thing, and but it's becoming such a problem. And when you talk about that of what is the actual impact of that, because I don't think we're thinking about that when we're clicking on those sales and adding things to cart and all of that.
100%. We're definitely not, and I think there's this sustainability and slow fashion movement and this small cohort of people that are thinking about that and trying to get that message out. But I don't think that message alone is enough. So I think that is just one part. And I think like we're still, again, why I come back to convenience, it has to be convenience. If we can't match fast fashion on convenience, then we won't win. If we've got the social impact and the sustainability element and it's convenient as buying new, then hopefully we can go to the effort, of repairing something rather than buying new. And you can think twice about it because it's not that much harder. So, that's the goal.
And so, what is your long-term goals with this business? Is you want to like solve all of that? Like, what are you thinking about in terms of where you want to be before you move on to the next project?
I would love
because I know you've got this entrepreneurial spirit in you. You'll probably move on to another project.
To be honest, the part I love most is the 0 to 1, and at the moment it is not at the 1. It's going from the 0 to 1. It's really getting it off the ground, and that's the that's the part that really excites me. So as challenging as this part is, it is the part that motivates me, that, means I bounce out of bed and I'm ready to come in and solve the next problem and see what I'm going to tackle for today, and that it's so dynamic and changeable. Like, that's the part I really love.
And
But
explain to people what you mean by 0 to 1 so they understand.
I think it's getting like a whole new concept off the ground. So, like my last business, the idea of booking a restaurant online, I would talk to my mum, my parents, about that, and they were like, "That's crazy. There's nothing wrong with phoning a restaurant. It's not that hard." And like the one is like, "Oh, I get it now. Like,
I
I
have to have that.
understand that it's
Yeah.
easier, but you have to experience sort of the service and the solution to understand that it's easier." And I think the 0 to 1 is just that becoming common knowledge, like assumed knowledge, and no one even thinking about it. But the original pitch is like, this is why you should book online. This is why we can do clothing alterations online. To then it's just like, I expect it to be online, and it's just the norm.
Yeah, we like have just come off some trade shows in Canada where we are very new, and you get that attitude of people coming to the stand all the time and saying, "Why would I need a laundry service?" And it's almost like going back to the beginning of breaking that down of, well, why wouldn't you? This can save you time and do all these things, but it also, gives this opportunity to our contractors to be able to have a sustainable, flexible business that they can be part of, and then they're like, oh, now I get it, and can go off on all those things. But yeah, it's going back to the beginning of that story and trying to explain that to people and to new people in Australia as well. It's a big part of the journey of growing a business, and when you're innovating a whole industry and doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I can relate to that. You've got to like remember as a founder that you just sort of like keep telling that origin story over and over again, and like coming back to that original problem, because it's not that you just explain it once and then, oh yeah, everyone understands it. It's sort of like, yeah, no, we're telling that for the whole time. So yeah.
Yeah, you become on repeat all the time. I'm sure people get sick of me saying the same story over and over, but for them it's a new part of the story, and it's only for me that I'm the one saying it over and over again. But it's always, and I think that's where it's important to know, like, what is it that is driving you? What is going to get you to that next stage? Because otherwise you will get bored along the way of trying to do that over repeat all of the time. And so you just work on your own at the moment, building this business?
Yeah, pretty much, with the partners, the social enterprise partners that we have now. So I guess the relationship with them has really developed over the last 6 months, especially. I've taken the initiative now just to go in once a month and like literally just sit in the workroom, be on my laptop within them, like basically just hot desk in their studio, and just like really immerse myself and absorb what's going on there.
Going
Because
on,
yeah,
yeah.
I think even from an outsider, like, I could sometimes question like, oh, why do we do it this way? How can we speed it up? But I think also the volume of orders that we're getting at the moment is low, but then being really prepared to work with them, that if we can scale it up and get it, and they're onboarding new staff and they're growing within their workrooms and studios as well, that I'm able to empathize and relate to the challenges that they've got there. So it is a solo business, but it doesn't feel like I'm alone any day at all. And we've got like a lot of good brand partners like yourself now as well. So we're always talking to them, and whether it's another startup in circular fashion or sort of like just in the startup spaces in general. So that you're always having conversations and talking to people, and you never feel like you're alone. But yeah.
And you've been talking to brands as well, right? About how you can tap into it just from when you make the first purchase to go directly. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Coming back to that original problem, what I really want to do is to tap into a brand, and when you buy a pair of pants or jeans online, that they can put that call to action right at the point when the pain exists, right? When the parcel gets delivered and you try on the pair of pants and they're too long, that's when they can send you an email going, hey, your pants got delivered yesterday or today. If you want to get them taken up, here's Hello Tailr. They work with social enterprises. click here to make the booking, and we can then give a commission to the brand, for sort of like referring that order. So that's the goal, and for me, that's where it'll tap that audience that that are shopping online, that it's completely relevant for them. So that's exactly what we're trying to tap into at the moment, and talking to all sorts of brands, from small boutique brands right through to big online retailers.
That's exciting. And so, like, I mean, obviously when you are an entrepreneur and you're creating your own business and you are working, as the only employee, even though you've got a lot of partners, like what motivates you to keep going every day and to, like stay on track and make sure you're working all the hours that you need to work and getting, the next tasks and things like that done, because you don't have, a boss breathing down your neck to do that. So what are the kinds of things that you use? What are the tools that you use to keep yourself on track each day?
I definitely like to just have one big goal and keep that focused on that. I think that's the real challenge as a startup, to not get distracted by lots of shiny things that come up. So between waking up and starting my day, I'll be like, I don't even post that often on social media, but then I'm like, we could do a post on this, we could do that. And then I know I'm going to like do 80% of it and never post it. So at the moment, my goal is to really work with the big online retailers and hopefully deliver through one of them. So I'm building the technology for that. So it is a bit boring. I sometimes have to just put the headphones on and code all day, and I'm like actually just building the product and the interface and the ordering and making sure the payment gateway works, and it's all the technical stuff. So I sort of put the headphones on and go, I'm the programmer for the day, and sort of try to time box things so I know I'm more productive in the morning. So I'll program from like 8 a.m. to midday and just go 4 hours solid. That's good. And then I can get distracted by emails and trying to post on social media or following up a brand email or something like that. And so I've got a lot of different tactics that I guess I've learned over time. And I think also just using friends. Like I've got a few friends that run small businesses, and just try to go out for dinner with them every month or two. And you sort of, that makes you a bit accountable too, because you're sort of just like, I need to tell them something's happened. Like I can't say nothing's happened, so I better follow up this person. And then,
that's accountability. I've got to have something that I've done to prove that I'm moving ahead. Yes.
A new one for me though is like grants and awards, because like the laundry lady, you guys have been in a lot of awards. That's in fact where we met earlier this year at one of the award ceremonies. But in my last business, it's not something I tackled at all. But this business sort of lends itself to that, and I'm entering that. But there's so many that you can enter, so that's a big like I have to sort of even prioritize them and go like, what's going to be worth my time, and even people going, you should, look at this one and that one. And it's like even just to sort of do the application or digest if it's worth it takes time. So
absolutely, it's a part of your marketing strategy, I think, entering awards. And it's something I'm really passionate about, because my career before I started Laundry Lady was doing awards programs, so I know how much benefit it can bring to a business from a PR perspective and all of those things. But you can't enter absolutely everything because it takes up all your time, and so you've got to have a strategy around, what am I going to achieve out of this one? What is it going to lead to? What's the audience? In the early stages when we were looking at those awards, it was about looking at ones where there might be an audience who would use our services, or where we might be able to, find contractors and those types of things. Last year it was about, we were trying to raise investment, and so we had to really repitch ourselves as a tech business and in the innovation space, and not just a laundry service. And so, it was entering awards that would help with that part of the narrative. So, it might look like it's just me dressing up in nice dresses and going to events, but it's actually quite strategic in why we do it and which awards we pick and all of those kinds of things. But yeah, it's also how much time have you got to submit to it, because none of them are just, suddenly someone goes, you're amazing, you should get an award for this. You have to actually write the big application process and all of those things as part of that, right?
100%. And I think knowing which ones to go into and maybe entering them one year so that you're better prepared for the following year. Some of them we've progressed through a couple of rounds, and then we get to a section and I'm like, I think we're not going to get that this year, but now I know I can bank that away for next year. That we'll have the responses ready, we'll have the data that they're going to look for, or the financials that they want, or whatever they're sort of like going for. We know that we'll either have that, or I just won't bother entering if it's sort of not relevant when the time comes. But for the ones that where we have done well, they've been great, as you say, marketing and credibility, and they've opened a lot of doors for us. Like, we're able to reach out to fashion brands and online retailers and just use that as the credibility to to book a meeting, or to get even just a conversation opener at the start of a Zoom call and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it definitely like creates a bit of legitimacy to people when they know that you've got that behind you, and also it opens up networking opportunities, right? Like I met you at an awards, and I'm like, wow, we need to talk because you're totally in my space, and we need to get this up and happening for our customers. So it can lead to really great things of just having a conversation when you see people at that stuff. So
100%, yeah. And there's been a lot of serendipity sort of stories for us already, just from attending those events and bumping into people. And the laundry lady is a service I've heard of, and I saw it on Shark Tank, and a lot of people are like, oh, you should reach out to maybe like yourselves, or like a laundromat sort of service and that kind of thing. And I went, but it's not our cup of tea. But sort of when it lands on your plate and you're like, oh, it's a natural fit, I'm not pitching to you. It's just a logical fit. You're like, people have asked for that, so here's a solution. We're going to offer it. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And so, is your happy place still coding and being on the tools?
Oh no! That I don't enjoy that. I'll be happy when. I can do it. I think for me that is. I'll be happy when I can afford to pay someone else to do it. That's for sure.
It's funny because I'm like that with marketing too. That's always been my passion and my place. But that was the first role I, got someone to come in, because social media can take a lot of your time and energy, and so it can be hard.
And it's satisfying because you can mentor. I think once you've sort of gotten good at it, you can mentor. So my last business, we ended up having probably about 3 or 4, full-time developers, or a mix of full-time and contractors and casuals and that kind of thing. So. It was really good building a team and a structure and a culture around that. And, so I think, you can do that once you've sort of mastered that department yourself, or that domain. For now I have to. It's a necessity. And
so how has AI transformed both what you do in the tech development space, but also in how you manage your time and all the rest of it? How are you using AI?
I'm using it a lot, but I guess I'm quite hands-on as well still. I'm still answering 90% of the emails myself. I might get AI to finesse an email for me, or, if I'm just stuck on phrasing, I'll use it to unblock me a lot. But I think at this part of the business where I'm really trying to understand the business, and I'm testing different language to every single different customer to work out, I think as a brand, if you can build a tone of voice and get the language right to the customers, that's important. So even just writing the emails myself really lets me test and iterate and explore just from that side. But I mean, AI is amazing. I'm vibe coding 80% of the tools that we need to build. I can get a prototype out in a day that used to take me a week or two. There's just so much you can do. Even just our D2C site is Shopify. And I built on that before my last business, as a contractor, sort of in 2008 or something, before it was even popular, and built a theme and everything. So I even understand the Liquid template that they have, their system. But you sort of got to learn it again, or you got to look up documentation. So now you just plug it into AI and you're here's my template. I want to add a sentence here, and it needs a border, and it needs to work in every email client, and it just tells you exactly what to do. So I think when you can use it for all that sort of stuff, it's amazing. And it's...
Yeah, and you don't even need to be a developer to use it for that kind of thing.
No,
I feel my business would have been developed in a very different way if I'd have had those tools when I was starting out, because I would have known enough about tech and systems to, get in there and go, right, this is what I need to do. Whereas I was just trying to Google all of that when I was starting out and doing those things.
It just takes a lot longer. Yeah, it's so much quicker these days. And I use it for sort of like as a in-house tailor, if you like, as well. So I upload the photos that people send us, and I'm like, I think it can be mended this way. I think we can do that. Just give me every possibility. And then I'll usually check it by like Googling the solutions and like, does that actually make sense? But then when I ring or speak to our social enterprise partners who are going to do it, I sort of have all of the solutions on the table. I know what's not going to work. So I feel like it just makes those phone calls efficient, or those emails with them quite efficient as well. So there's just so many ways to leverage it. It unlocks a lot, I think, as a small business, or especially as a small team, one person or a few people, but you can just do so much with it.
Like having a lot of interns all at once to help.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
And so how do you measure success in the business as you're growing and developing it? Is it about revenue targets? What are the metrics that you're looking at in terms of knowing that you're going on the right journey with your development of the business?
Yeah, I'm pretty bad at metrics, I have to admit. So the one metric for me is, can I pay my own salary? That's really my first goal.
That's a pretty good one in the beginning to be thinking about. Yeah,
it was my first goal with my first business, and I knew the exact number of restaurants I needed on a monthly subscription to pay my salary. And when I got to that number, I was really happy, because the business didn't need to grow. It just needed to make that. I think it was like 20 restaurants, maybe it was 60. I can't remember, but it was I just have to keep them happy, and that's good. And I can do that. So
that was mine for first one too. 20 is also the same number. Like, I, in the beginning, thought I just need to get to 20 contractors, and that will replace the income that I had. And, and that's like, I'll be happy if I can get to that point, in time. So it's like, it's a really valid thing to be thinking about at the beginning, because I don't think people quite understand, when they haven't started a business before, that it's really hard to pay yourself, and to pay yourself first, because you're always thinking about, the other things that can be done with that money and all of those things. But also, we still have lives, and we still have little people that we've got to feed and do all of those things. So it's actually really essential that we can pay ourselves.
Exactly, yeah. And I think, if you raise money or raise capital, that looks different. But I guess I bootstrapped it or self-funded it. So I'm paying my own salary at the moment, or I'm not earning a salary, really, is effectively how it is. So the sooner I can get there, and once you do get there, then I feel like then you can run it indefinitely, so long as you don't don't go backwards. So long as at least you keep the customers happy using your service that you've got, you don't go backwards. So at the moment, that's my current goal. And then I have an idea of what the goals will look like after that. And, the metrics I'll track maybe after that. But really, that's sort of like laser focused on getting to that, paying my own salary first.
Yeah, I think that's a good goal to get to. And so what's some tips that you might share with people who are just starting out, with other founders, about building a business, but also about how they can bring social good into their business, the way that you have with working with social enterprises?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people run the social enterprise themselves as well. And I think there's a lot of ways that you can do that in a small and low risk way as well. So even just whether it's starting a business or a social enterprise or whatever you're starting, as much as you can de-risk it, like keep your full-time job and ask for 4 days a week, and then start doing it 1 day a week and doing a pop-up market once a month. I think the best analogy, with my last business, we'd see these like ambitious chefs and restaurateurs come in and be like, I want to open a restaurant and I need the best fit out, I need the best this and that. But the best ones really just like borrowed the kitchen on a Monday night and did a pop-up once a month on a Monday night, and they'd dial in that service and their menu and what they offered for that Monday night, and it just took all their attention for that 1 month, and they could do it with while they worked their regular chef job. And then they'd build an audience. They'd get the customers coming back every month. They're like, oh, we need a second night, we need a third night. And then after a while, they end up needing their own space because they can fill a full week. So I think you just got to be creative about how you can de-risk it as much as possible. And I guess that's why you always hear like sort of online commerce sort of sites, like if you start from your shed and like, you know, anything like that, you're working nights and weekends. So as much as you can, that makes sense. For my first business, it was really good. I just left out of uni and sort of fell into that idea of I don't want to work for someone and I'm just going to go solve this booking system problem. But I had a part-time job where I could just pick my own hours. So I would just work and program and build it and then try to sign up a client, and then I'd do that. And then as I got more clients, I just dropped the days of the week that I was working with that job. So I think that's a really good way of going about it, and keeping in mind that it does take a few years to really build a business and a stable revenue so you can pay yourself.
Yeah, I think the benefits of bootstrapping from the beginning, you know, are pretty great in terms of what you can learn from that compared to if you just started out with investment and you've got other people's money. Like, I don't think you'd be as responsible or, you know, or know as much because you haven't had that lived experience of having to bootstrap from nothing and grow something from nothing. I think that teaches you so much. So in the background, you have some beautiful artwork that is done by some younger people, I would say. Your daughters, is that right?
Yeah, got 2 daughters. That was partly why I left the last business. It was like, you know, they were being born, and it was just a good time to spend some family time. So yeah, I've had the fortunate like year or two off with them, and like just going to every single playground that we can find and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, like now get to drop them at school like 3 days a week and pick them up and all that sort of stuff. So I really do enjoy the flexibility of running my own business. And I think when I saw the catch line for your podcast when it got announced, I was like, I really like choose your own life or design your own. Like, that really resonates with me, I think, because I think a lot of people get into small business and then that's what they intend. They're like, oh, I want to choose my hours and I don't want to like answer to a boss. And then they end up becoming a slave to the business, and you know, it doesn't fulfill their goals, and they're just working harder than ever before for, you know, less. So I think if you can get it to that stage where it gives you a bit of freedom, that's amazing.
Yeah, or set yourself boundaries around that, I think is really important. Like, I have 2 boys and I have to set myself boundaries all the time because I could just work through all of it. And, you know, I've just been away for 3 weeks, and this week my goal is to be able to drop my son at school and pick him up every day, which I could easily say get on the bus, and if he's naughty enough, I might do that. But, you know, that's my boundary this week. I want to be able to do that and be there for him and pick him up and drop him off and just work back around all of that so that, you know, I can do those things. But, you know, it's about having your own boundaries around what all of that looks like and sticking to it.
100%, yeah.
And so your girls are probably too little to really understand what you're doing, but what do they think about you know, having a business, and what's their understanding of it at this stage?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, they just asked me to like, oh, can you fix the hole in my pants? And I've got a sewing machine, and like I wouldn't like put it near a customer's thing, but like clothes, obviously. But like for me, you know, a 4-year-old's tearing their pants, like just have a go, you know. So you can't really go wrong. Could this be? Exactly. So I think it's a bit more forgiving, you know, when you're younger, and it just doesn't matter so much. But yeah, it's a good question.
Not like my teenager who says, "Do not touch my laundry, Mum." Yeah, he would like to do his own laundry.
Yeah, I think they don't. I don't know that they comprehend it yet. I would say that. That's probably
it's all subliminal messages that they're learning about entrepreneurism and
yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting today. It's been so good to to talk to you, and so you can check out Hello Tailr on Laundry Lady website, and you know, book it in for yourself. I think it's a really, I'm definitely have quite a few items that I need to be sending in and getting fixed and mended and all of those things. But I think it's a really great way, and you know, in your story of how you've set this up and driving it, and we're excited to be partnering with you.
Yeah, no, it's great to be partnering with you. I think it's a really logical fit. So yeah, really great to see where this can go, and hopefully we can provide a valuable service to your customers as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me on.